If you're thinking of moving to the Philadelphia area and you want to pick the greatest, best school district, there's a lot to consider. Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Gregory Martyr, your local real estate expert here, local information expert in the Philadelphia area. Today we're talking about how to pick the best school district. So even if you're not using the school district, maybe you don't have kids that are school age, or maybe you're homeschooling, or perhaps you're doing a private school or some other form of education, the school district is super important for property values. But how do you choose the best district? And what makes it a good school district? Oh, that's a great district. Oh, they get great reviews. Well, they're highly ranked. And we talk about that a lot on our channel. So let's dig into it a little bit. So generally speaking, and most of the time, a highly ranked school, I should say all the time really, is highly ranked because of the test results, because of standardized tests from the state make the school rank high. So Philadelphia, generally speaking, has a terrible ranking. I mean, it's not very good. It's not very high. Now, does that mean it's not a good school? Maybe. So the test scores coming out of the Philadelphia school district are ranked very low compared to some of the other districts not so far out from, let's say, Philadelphia or outside of the county. Now, I do want to mention about Philadelphia school district, though. Just because the tests or results are not ranked very high, there is a lot of love in that school system, and the teachers really care about their students, and the students really care about their school. So it's not to say people don't try hard. You're taking a large sampling of data and you're spitting out a number to make it a highly ranked school. So how do we choose the best school district? Well, that is very important, right? If you're getting high ranked on your test scores, well, the federal government takes notice, and that's how they would provide federal funding. Same thing at the state level, same thing at kind of the local level as well. Some of the schools that aren't getting high test scores are also getting some aid because they might need some more help as compared to others. The next consideration is the reviews of the parents, right? What do the people say? Boots on the street, baby, like we do on our channel. What are the people saying? So if you have a question about any school district, hit me up. I'll be glad to give you my opinion. I'll be glad to tell you if I do know or don't know. And we're pretty well versed here in most of the schools in all of Pennsylvania, really, and in New Jersey too. So if you're considering going, we did a few videos on the school systems generally. We did a few videos on cyber school. So check out our channel. And while you're checking out our channel, hit subscribe, hit like. It helps our channel, will you? While you're hitting like and subscribe, hit that bell notification. We put out a lot of epic content. How do we get this information? Well, you could call the school. I mean, they'll be glad to tell you. Of course, they're going to say nice things about the district, right? I mean, you could, of course, do an internet search. And of course, if you read it on the internet, you know it must be true. But, you know, I've picked about 3 websites that I like personally and that work really, really well. I didn't rank them in any certain order, although I do have my favorite, which I'll certainly tell you about. But there are multiple websites that will give you data of the ranking. Most websites you see, and even on some of those other bigger websites, which I won't mention here, because you have to use my website to search houses, which actually my website doesn't give you the school rankings yet, okay? But I'll give you the school ranking. So most of the websites are ranking schools by the test scores. All right, I think we beat that school to death. Beat the horse to death, beating a dead. All right, you know what I mean. You get it. That's why they rank high. So no particular order. Actually, I'm going to start with my first and favorite one, which doesn't mean it's the best, but I think it's the most user-friendly, and it gives you good data quickly, and I personally like it. That's where I send my clients to check out information, because it gives you test results, it gives you some great metrics, but it also gives you reviews. What do the people say? So you want to dig into school data? Well, SchoolDigger.com. Now that's my personal favorite. Now they rank things on a point system. Now why is it my personal favorite? It's very easy to navigate. Life's hard enough, right? It comes at you 1,000 miles a minute. So the easier something is for me, it makes my life easier, and also my clients rave about it. They do like it. It makes it pretty easy to navigate. Now, most of these websites are very easy to navigate too, but it gives you good data and a good snapshot. Now, School Digger uses the National Center for Educational Statistics among some other sites, including the U.S. Department of Education, also the U.S. Census, also the Pennsylvania Department of State, and School Diggers absentee information comes from ATTOM, which is a database of attendance percentages. How many people show up to school, right? It's important. Now, using those data points, they come up with a school ranking, and that's what most of the websites do. So, and that's what you want. That's what is considered a good school, is the test scores. But what's also really like about School Digger is they give you a student to teacher ratio. They give you a number of students breakdown. They give you a amount of money that the school will spend per person, per pupil. They call it, I think of some fancy name like pupil percentage of profit. But it tells you how much money they're going to spend per kid, per student. That's important information. It also gives you a racial breakdown, which is great. It gives you other demographics of the area and of the school itself. Because as PC and as everywhere we have to get to, we all live in reality, right? So maybe we want to go to a certain school that has a certain ethnicity in the neighborhood or a certain religion in the school. Check out some of our other videos on this. We've done several videos on our school systems in and around the greater Philadelphia area. All right, so next up on our list, and we're not getting any kind of sponsorship here, hint, hint, by these websites. Maybe after we put the video out, maybe they would reach out to us, but it's going to take a lot to buy our opinion, especially me, because I'm glad to give you my opinion, whether you want to pay me or take my money. But the next one I like is very useful. Now this is niche.com, niche, niche.com. Super helpful information, very similar to School Digger in a lot of its data as far as the data sources. Again, we got the National Education Center, we got the U.S. Census Bureau, we got the Pennsylvania Department of State. So they're pulling similar data. They're also using that attendance information niche will rank the schools by grade, by letter grade. So you get an A, an A minus, a B, B plus, you follow here as well. So again, a very friendly site to use, very robust, very useful because it isn't hiding data, meaning it isn't pushing you in one direction. It isn't taking your focus. It's just giving good information. The reviews on Niche are similar to School Digger. They're very easy to find, and there's a lot of them on there, which is important. Now, Niche, just like School Digger, also has private schools listed, which is super important information, right? And we've done a couple videos on some other private schools, but we don't want to just know about the public schools. We also want to know about the private schools in the area. Again, we may not be going to school. We may not use the public schools. We may not use the private schools. We may not have school-age kids. We may not be in school ourselves, but it's important for property values. I mean, a lot of our customers may live in the city or just outside of the city, but they don't even use the local school district. They go to private schools over an hour away. Some of those private schools you sleep at. Check out our recent videos on those as well. And if you have a question, hit us up down below in the comments. We'll definitely get your question answered. So as of right now, when we make this video, the school test data is the Common Core data. It's these Common Core testing, and it's testing reading skills, reading proficiency, and also math skills and math proficiency. So I'll throw my opinion in here because I was I was raised where I had to go to school. Darn it, Mom. No, but all joking aside, people learn in different ways. So sometimes the data is skewed where somebody might be really good at math and just did poorly on a test. So don't let this sway you from trying to expand your knowledge. Throw that in as a public service announcement to all you young folks getting ready to go to school and you young parents with young kids like myself. Just tell my kids to do their best as they can, and try to treat everybody the way you want to be treated. Okay, I'm off my high horse. We're back into school rankings. So Niche pulls a lot of data, just like some of the other sites about test scores, how many people go to school, how many people end up going to college, but they also look at the athletics. They also give you some great school boundaries along with School Digger. They give you an excellent source of that. Now they're pulling data from different sources, so it's usually from the school district directly. So you always want to check and make sure, is this most accurate and most up to date? But as we navigate these sites, I mean, we find all the time that they do mean well. There's a lot of advertisement that's on there, so they're getting paid. These are free sites. You don't have to pay to use them. I wouldn't suggest necessarily having to pay to use it because this data can be found depending on how much time you have. It can be found. You can go right directly to the sources as well. The financial information is usually on every website of every school district too. And we'll put some links to some of these larger data sources that we mentioned here today. So what's cool about Niche is they're sending out surveys now. School Digger does that as well, and greatschools.org is what we're going to talk about next. They also do surveys, and we want to know what the people are saying. We want to know what the people think whether their kids are going to school. Niche gives this vast array of a report card. So it's not just what are my test scores, how many people showed up, how many people went to college. They're looking at academics, they're looking at finances, how well is the budget, what is the price per pupil expenditure, PPE, is it that? What is the average teacher salary? They also look in the neighborhood. What's the surrounding area like? What's the cost of living there? What are the private school rankings versus how many kids are in a cyber school versus a public school? There's charter school rankings, which are also state regulated too. You check out our video on cyber charter schools, public schools. They give you a proficiency in reading percentage. They give you a proficiency in math. Again, that's based on those test scores. They will also provide an average SAT score. These are all important, which makes the schools more attractive. I mean, we have some folks that move to the area just for a school. We have literally the best. We have several of the top 10 school districts in Pennsylvania right here in our backyard. Check out, we have a whole channel on the main line. Check that out. We'll put some links to that. We've got a whole playlist here about the main line. And a couple of those, or 2 or 3 of those schools are on that list. You've got a lot of great school districts in and out and around Philadelphia. And the one common thing I can say in this general area, and really most people that we talk to and most places that we visit, is the teachers really care. The ranking may be very low, but it doesn't mean the people don't care. And it doesn't mean you don't have fun. It doesn't mean they don't have a great curriculum. Did I finish school? Did I say that right? Curriculum. All right, great. So greatschools.org. Now, this is also a free site. This is probably one of the most in-depth sites that we like to give out as far as to suggest people to look at. There are some other ones that are really good. Patch.com and US News has a good sampling of school data as well. Again, if you Google it, you'll certainly, or if you YouTube it, you'll certainly come up with a few. But I like greatschools.org. It is so vast. I mean, you could go down the rabbit hole of school districts and schools in the area. It's almost TMI in some cases, but they've got a lot of great parent resources there. They've got a lot of good information and a lot of free information, and it really delves deep into the community surrounding the school, which is very helpful. And like I said, we always suggest people to go to that one for that reason. So greatschools.org ranks by college readiness, college preparation, student readiness. There's a lot more minutia that goes into the ranking here, which is also a point system than on these other sites that I mentioned. It goes into test scores, it goes into equity, it goes into racial profiling, and we're not profiling in the bad way, it's profiling in the good way. Is there really a good or bad way? It gives data, it gives important information you want to know. You have a lot of people come into the area that want to live in a certain area. They want to shop in certain stores. They have certain products that they use for their skin and their hair and their clothing that they want to be close to. And you don't want to have to drive an hour to go get the food that you like to eat. So this site is really robust for this reason, and it's one of the reasons why we do suggest you would check it out. Like the other sites we talked about, it does give you student demographics. It also gives you teacher demographics. It also goes really well in depth about low income, why schools get certain rankings. It's using 2 types of test data. So it's using those Common Core, if you will, the core data, I'm going to call it, and also the other Pennsylvania exams. attendance, graduation rate, SATs, ACTs. Great Schools does not miss a beat. And these other sites are giving you this information, but Great Schools is like, it's overload. It's great. It really gives a great overall picture, and like I said, there's some great parent resources in there as well. So all in all, or in short, the school rankings are based on test data. And these websites I was directing you to really goes into great detail about why they're ranked and how they're ranked, and maybe other different ways, but it's all very similar. That driving force is those test scores, and it usually indicates a good student experience, but we really need, that's why I'm pointing out these websites, we really need the boots on the street opinion. We need to know, is the student having a good experience? You may have a student from a certain background that goes to one of the best schools and does very poorly, because there are people that are having a poor experience and getting poor results in these top schools. So there might be a reason why. So we are missing that and neglecting that a little bit, but it's really relative. We're not going to change the world here. But the best thing to do is call me or shoot me a text, email, call the schools, and call the PTA. I mean, people, those parents, the parents, if you're parents yourselves, or even if you're not a parent, if you're an adult, if you have an opinion and you want to say something, they're not going to hold back, and it's not going to hurt them in any way to give you good information. All right, so there's some of these accreditations I just want to touch about a little bit. The video is probably a little bit longer than I wanted to, but it's important. People ask about blue ribbon certification or nationally recognized school. So a lot of these is fill out the form and you get the recognition. Now, please don't hurt me. I hope I don't have any school principals cringing right now. You do have to meet criteria. You do have to match it. So it's not just, oh, I filled out the form, we got the blue ribbon accreditation. You do, however, need to have certain test scores to get these recognitions. Now, the nationally recognized School of Excellence is, again, forms to be filled out, but you have to meet certain criteria. You have to have certain levels of absentees, certain levels of test scores. Also, not just academics, but extracurricular activities which are connected to the school. Maybe they're community driven or community run, but they have to be connected to the school in some way. So those accreditations or credit in a certificate, look, those things certainly matter, and those things do indicate that it's a better school than another, but it's not the end-all say-all. It's an accumulation of things. Again, hit me up if you have any questions. Comment that down below. Appreciate you taking the time to stop out today and listen and watch our great video. If you do like it, hit subscribe. Again, it really helps the channel, and I appreciate it greatly. Gregory Martier, local real estate expert here in the greater Philadelphia area, coming at you. Thanks again. Have a great day, everybody.